Okay, so bonus round. We're at 8%. Let's go a little bit further, see what we can do. We can do another 4%. I don't know if it will make up for the 4%, which would have been 100 down to 96, because I think that the battery was performing better higher up, if that makes sense. So I think the first half performed better than the second half. I think the second half still performed pretty well. I'll try and throw up some numbers to sort of justify what I'm saying, but I think on the first half of the ride, I reckon we were getting about, maybe for 1% of battery, I think we were getting about 1.3 kilometers, if that makes sense. So better than 1 for 1. And then I think on the second half, we were maybe closer to 1 for 1 or just shy of 1 for 1. I'll have to do the maths to work that out, but we've just gone to 7% and it says 90.3. So I would guess that, yeah, going from 100 down to 96, I reckon you'd get further than you would do what we're doing now, of going from 8 down to 4. I don't know why you'd want to ride around this far. It's got pretty far, you know, like 90 kilometers. That's pretty good. We're still going. So if you started at 100, I reckon you'd get to 100. But why you'd want to ride for 100 kilometers doing 30 kilometers an hour, I do not know. Maybe if there was a zombie apocalypse and all the gas stations were empty or blown up or on fire or whatever, and you had solar, or you just so happened to have not ridden the bike yet and your safe zone was 100 kilometers away, then, and the zombies couldn't move faster than 30 kilometers an hour or whatever, yeah, maybe. But it's interesting to do these tests just to see what the go is with the bikes. It just shows that, yeah, speed has a big factor when it comes to range, which isn't surprising really. Okay, we're on 6% now, 91.3. So yeah, I need to get back out on the Duke. It's been a little while. Been riding around on this bike. Do enjoy riding the Duke and doing videos based around riding that bike and riding manual bikes and gas bikes and that kind of thing. So I need to get back out on the Duke, but I'd also like to see if this bike can get to the city and back, because that would be kind of cool to see. Yeah, I'm pretty confident it'll get there. I just don't know if it'll get there and back on one charge, especially with Stocko Bridge in between here and there. Obviously on the way there, be pretty much fully juiced, so I wouldn't be too worried about getting up and over. But on the way back, if you were real low on power, I'd be interested to see if it would still climb up and over, because the road there is 80 kilometers an hour, so you're not going slow. You are expected to keep up with the flow of traffic, and that's a fair old bridge, that one. So yeah, we're still going okay now, so just trying to keep consistent just for that 4%. There we go, 5% battery, and we are on 92.3. So that means in this bonus round, we are just chomping through those last few percent, just to give us an extra 4% that would give us a rough idea of what we would have got at the top. But I reckon those would have probably got us a bit further, but it's still good to know, gives you a rough idea. And with those sums I'll throw up on the screen, or have already thrown up on the screen, you can do your kind of averages and work out what you're getting. So I reckon, just off the top of my head, I think it's about 1 for 1. So yeah, for 4% of battery you should be getting about 4 kilometers, maybe 5 kilometers, that kind of thing. But it is interesting to find out, but we can't be far off hitting that 4%. But this isn't a scientific test by any means, it's just for a bit of fun, bit of entertainment, see how we go, that kind of thing, just so you know what you're going to be looking at if you think of getting one of these bikes. If this bike can do it being the 2024 R version of the Surron Ultra Bee, then the 2025 R is going to be able to do it and some. So I do think there is a good point doing this, setting these baselines, because the new version of the bike is going to be able to do the same or very similar. Seen that guy about 50 times. So it's still got a bit of juice if you want it. So obviously I'm fluctuating above and below that 30 because I've got to look around, that kind of thing. Gotta try to keep it as consistent as possible. There we go, 4%. So I'm seeing 93.5 on the trip counter and 864 on the overall odometer. So I'll just pull over up here and say those again. Okay, so on our overall numbers, I'm seeing 864. We are at 4%, and the trip counter says 93.6. So that is a pretty good effort, I'd say. So we're at 4%. And it's still going. Like, you can still get up to 30, so you could still get to work or college or school or whatever it is. You could still keep rolling and then juice it back up when you were there. So yeah, that's pretty cool. Okay, so I'll chuck up those claimed range. There's 2 of them. There's the kind of one that I reckon was probably done on a dyno, which I think was maybe 140 at 40 kilometers an hour, and the other one was like supposed to be like a real world test, and I think that was 90. So I think we've shown that that one was pretty much spot on. Bonus round. Okay, so we are at 4% eco mode, map 1. Going for our top speed. 40, get tucked. 46, 47, 48, 49. Ah, streakers. 50 tucked. There you go. And upright. So we are at 3% and still going. So these things do go right to the end. This is an uphill section here. So yeah, not doing quite as good of a job, but it's still climbing. 47, 48. So this is uphill with me sat upright. 49 uphill sat up. That's pretty good. What's that? You want me to do another 4%? What? I gotta fly back to Sydney, bro. The chopper's waiting. That's out of contract. The contract was already... I'm already doing what isn't contracted. The contract is start at 100 and then stop at 12%. So I've already gone to 8%. So I'm already doing stuff outside of contract. I mean, how much do you think Tucker would charge to do stuff that wasn't contracted? I don't care, man. The production team can get the bike back to Sydney. I got to get the chopper. Do you know how much those things cost?